Most people do not lose opportunities, money, and leverage because they make bad decisions. It's mainly because they talk too much. They overshare. They volunteer information that was never required, be it about their money, about their career, their families, or just their lives in general. And then they wonder why people are treating them differently. Here's what most people do not understand. Information is not neutral. The moment you put out information, that information will change how people perceive you, how they behave around you, how they engage with you, and even how they negotiate with you when you find yourself in work or business environments. And once you understand this, you will actually become much more selective in terms of what you share, how much you share, and with whom you share that information with. And that is why in today's video, I want us to look at 7 things that you should not tell people if you want to protect your money, your career, and your long-term options in terms of your life in general. If you are new here, hi, my name is Elizabeth, and on this channel, I talk about personal finances as well as wholesome living. So if that is the kind of content that you have interest in, you are in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and put on the notification bell so that you do not miss out on my upcoming videos. I release at least 1 video a week, so be sure to subscribe and put on the notification bell. The first thing that you should not tell people is your exact financial position. When it comes to how you are doing financially, the glory details of how you are doing with your finances, you want to keep that to yourself, because once people know that information, they adjust how they treat you. They adjust how they engage with you. And it doesn't matter whether you are doing well or you are not doing well. If you are thriving financially and you put that information out to the people around you, they will find different ways in which they can benefit from you and they can milk you. You will suddenly become the go-to person when they need help with anything. Sometimes you might even become their emergency fund or their backup plan because they know you are doing well. They have this expectation that you are going to help them whenever they need help. And even when you are not doing well financially, people will still treat you differently. Suddenly, because they know you are struggling, they start gossiping about you. They create stories about you. They start to judge you and how you live your life. So either way, whether you are doing well or you are not doing well, you don't want people in your business knowing exactly what is happening with your financial situation. Any mature adult treat their finances as boring, as general, and as vague as possible, especially when it comes to money conversations with other people. Whether it's family, it's friends, or it's colleagues or co-workers, you want to keep your financial information as boring and as general as possible. Keep the specifics to yourself. There is nothing wrong with having conversations, but your exact numbers and your exact situation, those should be reserved for you. It's not for the general public. And the other thing that you can do when it comes to your financial situation is for you to speak in percentages instead of you speaking in numbers. So if you are speaking to people, whether it's family or friends, instead of you saying, I invest 30,000 a month from my income, you can say, I put away in investments 15% of my income or 20% of my income. When you speak in percentages, for most people, that percentage does not mean anything to them because they do not know the context of your numbers. Only you will know when I say this percentage, it converts to what amount. So speak general, speak in percentages instead of numbers, and that way you don't give away your exact financial situation to people, because like I said earlier, it can be used against you for their own benefit. The second thing that you should not tell people is your real income, how much it is that you make, whether it's every month or it's every year, and from all your different sources of income. Maybe you have a job, you also have a side hustle, you have some projects on the side, and all of that. You want to keep your income to yourself, because once you share that information, people will start creating stories in their head about your income. Suddenly, they think they have figured out how much you are able to do, what can you do, how much you can give, how much you can accept, and how much you can tolerate. Suddenly they have this story in their head regarding your money. And you do not want people to have that. And it also just creates future expectations from those people in terms of how they can get assistance from you. Because now they know you earn a 30,000, they can plan their things on your budget, expecting you to give them money because they are already calculating. Maybe her rent, she's only spending this much. Maybe her car, it's only this much. So she must be left maybe with a 15K or with an 18K. Within that 15K, she should be able to give me this much to go and solve my problems. And that is a situation, once you get into that, it's very difficult for you to come out later, because when you tell people you do not have money, they are going to question you based on the salary or on the income that you told them that you are earning. So rather keep your actual income to yourself, and where you are able to help and give, do so within your budget, within your financial plan. But beyond that, it's okay for you to say you don't have, and people will not know whether you don't have because they do not know your exact income. You can even tell them you only get paid enough to cover your expenses. You don't need to go in details, you don't need to tell them anything further, so that that information does not get used against you later on. The third thing that you should not tell people is your next big move. Whether your next big move is a new business venture, whether you are buying a home, you are buying a car, you are going to study, whatever it is, do not tell people about it. Because when you do, it invites interference. Suddenly, because people know what you are going to do next, they know what you are working on or what you are planning, suddenly they have opinions about your things. Suddenly they are filling your head with doubts. Suddenly some of them are quietly competing with you. And all of those is things that you do not want. And generally, we have to be honest. When you share your big moves with people, it invites negative energy. Not everybody is happy about you succeeding or you leveling up with your life. Some people want you to remain where you are so that you can be at the same level and in the same group. They don't want to raise yourself above so that you move to the next level. They are happy to keep you here. So the moment you share with them, this is what I'm working on, this is my next move, this is what, sometimes they will intentionally sabotage you so that you do not succeed. And that sabotage most of the time will come in a form of unsolicited advice on things that sometimes they don't even know. Suddenly they are experts in this thing and they are telling you what to do, and they are filling your head with doubts and questions and things. And then you wonder why your plans don't work out. It's because you are always sharing those things with people. People are not always happy that good things are happening in your life. Yes, there are some that are happy. I'm not saying everybody out there is a bad person or a negative person, but I'm just saying there are cases where you share your things and people are not happy. So to avoid any of that, you want to keep your information and your big moves to yourself. The best thing for you to do is to first execute your things, have your things done, and let the results of those actions speak for themselves. People who know you or around your life will be able to pick up if there are changes. Let them see the success for themselves. Let them see the changes for themselves. Don't announce your things. There's even a saying in Oshuambo, which is my mother tongue, where they say, do not stand on heels to announce your things. You don't want to do that because you are inviting all sorts of judgment, doubts, bad energy, and all of that, and opinions. And that is not something you want, especially when you are trying to level up your life, be it with your money, with your career, even with your relationships. If all your friends are single and maybe they have been looking or whatever it is, they might not be so happy that you have met a nice new person who is treating you well. They might want you to be in the same situation as them. Maybe they have people who have not treated them so well. So you want to keep your moves, especially your big moves, to yourself. But generally with your life, keep the details to yourself. Don't share too much. You can share a little bit here and there, but never show your full board or your bigger picture. The fourth thing that you should not tell people is your backup plan. When it comes to your backup plan, it can look like you having a few money put aside in a sinking fund or in a short-term investment account, waiting for you to decide if you want to walk away from a toxic work environment or a toxic boss, or for you to make certain changes in your life. That is part of what a backup plan is. A backup plan can also look like you having the ability to be able to move back home if everything doesn't work out in your life. If things really come to the bottom of the bottom, you know that I can always go home. There is space for me to return there. Or it can be you handing different offers for business or for jobs, and while you are negotiating the current one, you already have another one that you are considering on the side, but you do not want to let people know of those things, because once you tell people what your backup plan is, then suddenly there is no more agency in dealing with you. Then suddenly they are lowering the offers, they are pushing the timelines, they are really doing everything to test your limits. And for instance, in the workplaces, once you let people know that maybe you come from a well-to-do family, or you come from a background where you have done really well for yourself, suddenly people will even start excluding you from opportunities at work. Because in their mind, they will have that thing to say, no, but she doesn't need it, but she's okay, but she'll be okay, but she has a plan B. Once people know your plan B or your backup plan or the things that you have done to actually set yourself up for success, they will use it against you. So keep those things to yourself. You should work on your backup plan or your contingency silently, alone, and use it also silently. You don't need to announce it to people. Even when you are using it or you are busy doing it, keep it to yourself. The fifth thing that you should not tell people is how much you have saved or invested. Basically, how much money you have in your savings and in your investments. Firstly, sharing this information will immediately trigger entitlement, especially from family members and close friends. Because now they have this thing to say, this lady has, let me say, 100,000 saved or a 1 million invested, for example. Then they have that entitlement to say she should be able to share that money with us, or he should be able to share that money with us. And that is not something you want. So when it comes to your savings and investments, you do not need an audience. You do not need commentary where you are giving that information to people and they are supposed to come back and say, oh wow, you are doing so well, this is so good, what. You do not need that. All you need is to acknowledge yourself, how you are doing financially, celebrate yourself silently, but not for you to share that information with people. And mind you, a lot of times, sharing your savings and investments will get you in a situation where you are being emotionally blackmailed to help people, especially with family members. Once they know you have money sitting in your savings, whenever they ask you for a favor and you say you don't have, they will always remind you of that money that is saved. And they feel entitled and they will emotionally blackmail you into withdrawing money from those accounts so that you help them. Because suddenly you become the bad person, you get labeled a certain way, the whole family will be informed, the entire community will know how bad you are as a person who is sitting on a certain amount of money in your savings, but you do not want to help your family. And a lot of times, it's not things that are urgent, it's not things that are important, but people have that entitlement towards your money. They feel because you have it, they should also benefit from it. So to save you from all of those things, rather keep your savings and your investments to yourself. But there is nothing wrong with having an accountability partner, somebody who is also building their wealth slowly, step by step, that you now and then can share some of your numbers with. Even if you do not go in details, like I said earlier, you can even speak in percentages. It can be somebody you share percentages with and say, now I have increased my net worth with 2.5%, or I have grown my savings with 30%, or whatever it is. It's okay to have one trusted person that you can actually share your milestones with when it comes to your finances. But also, look at what type of person they are, whether it's really somebody you can trust with those kind of information. Because you know your people very well. Who is a person that I can trust with certain information? And to what extent can I trust them with this information? Then you can really have that accountability buddy. And hopefully it's somebody who is doing slightly better than yourself, so that they don't feel some type of way about your achievements. Because once you do it with somebody who is earning less or who is building less than you, it might also trigger jealousy without you knowing. So Look at if there is somebody who is doing better than you, that would be the best person. They can mentor you, they can give you guidance, real guidance based on experiences, and they can also make suggestions on certain things, platforms, tools, and what that you can use. The sixth thing that you should not tell people is how much you need a deal, a job, or someone. Now, those are three things that are in different categories, but they work in a similar way. Because once you show that you are desperate for something, or you are very dependent on something or someone, then things will just start going wrong from there. The moment someone realizes that you are attached to the outcome of this thing, then suddenly everything shifts. Prices go up, standards get lowered, the respect goes down. Because they know this person is very desperate for the outcome of this thing, I can treat them however I feel like, and they will still be here, or they will still say yes. So basically, you want to avoid being the desperate person in any situation. Whether it's a business deal, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, be it platonic, be it a romantic one, do not show that you are very dependent on that relationship or on that situation, or that you are desperate. That is how you lose leverage. And once that leverage shifts from you, then you are on the side where you do not want to be, because now it's like you are at the mercy of another person, and that is not something that you want. So even if you are really desperate for that deal, or for that job, or for that thing that you are pursuing, do so while you are calm. Don't show what is going on inside. Keep all the emotions to yourself. Show up confidently, show up with a good head on your shoulders, and do not show that, yes, I'm desperate, and if this thing falls through, my life is over, or whatever it is. Really look like somebody who has a lot of options. Negotiate or deal with whatever situation with confidence and with strength, so that in that way you do not get taken advantage of. Because once people know that you are desperate, they will take advantage of you. So when it comes to how much you need something, really keep it to yourself, but show up strong with confidence, and everything will go well. The seventh thing that you should not tell people is your past mistakes. And I know a lot of us have made this mistake of sharing our past mistakes. What you need to remember is that those mistakes belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. That version of you from 5 years ago who made mistakes at work, or who let a client slip through, or who did this or who did that, whether it's in your work or in your business relationships, or it's in your family, or it's in your relationships, that version of you no longer exists. In fact, even if it's a version of you from last year, it no longer exists. You are no longer that person. And once you keep sharing your mistakes from the past, you are inviting people to judge you. And not only that, they will tie you to an identity on that situation that is no longer you. You have healed, and you have moved on, and you have learned lessons from those situations. But because you have told people about it, now they start seeing you in a different way. Now they tie you to that kind of a person, and that is not something that you want. If you choose to share your past mistakes, it should be from a place of lessons that you have learned, and you don't need to go in details of those lessons. But the glory details of how bad your previous boss was, or how your friendship fell apart, or how you lost the love of your life, or how you were treated in a relationship, you don't need all of that. You can share certain things from a point of learned lessons, but not from a point where it's still a wound in your life, or to a point where you are giving too much information that is not necessary, and that information will be used against you. So always be very mindful when you share things from the past. It should be from a place of growth, but also without too much detail. It should not be something that is coming from a place of a wound, and you are offloading too much unnecessarily, and sometimes you are offloading on the wrong people. Rather go to a therapist and offload your things there. Then that is fine, because that is what therapists are supposed to do. They are supposed to listen to you and help you to heal and move forward. But to be honest, the version of you from 6 months ago, from last year, from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, it's no longer who you are. And you don't need to relive that. You don't need to carry that with you. It's okay for you to move past that. And people should not constantly tie you to that past version of yourself. It's okay okay for us to evolve. It's okay for us to become better, to learn from what has happened, and we push forward without having to relive that and having to give all that detail to people so that they use it against us. And having said that, the thread that is connecting all these points that we have talked about in the video is something simple, even though it's uncomfortable. That information is not neutral. Information is not harmless. And you should always remember that information is gold. And you do not want to go around volunteering information that is not required or not needed, or giving information to the wrong people at the wrong time. You want to be intentional with how you share information, whether it's information about your money, whether it's information about your career or your job, or it's business, or it's family, or it's friendships. You want to really be intentional. How much do I share? To what extent do I share? Who do I share with? At what point do I share? Is it really necessary? Every time you speak to somebody or you sit with somebody and you start offloading so much, really ask yourself, is it really necessary for me to be saying these things to this person? Because sometimes we can get carried away. It's part of being human. But we should have the ability to self-correct ourselves and to audit ourselves and do better. Because, like I said, when you give out information, it changes how people perceive you, how they behave around you, how they engage with you, and how they negotiate with you. So it's not harmless to share. You should always know that this information can be used to change a whole lot of things in my life. And you want to be mindful. You want to keep your financial life and your life in general very vague, very boring, especially when you are having those conversations. Rather keep the details to yourself, whether it's details of your plans or details of your money, even details of your relationships and of your family. We tend to also overshare about our family troubles. So like I said, as mature adults, we need to control ourselves so that we do not overshare, because oversharing invites a whole lot of things that we do not want in our lives. We need to be discreet. We need to be selective in terms of how we share, how much we share, with whom we share, so that we protect our money, we protect our careers or our work, as well as our families and other relationships and our lives in general. We have come to the end of the video. So if you would like to build a money system that actually transforms your life, I offer one-on-one coaching services. I will put the link in the description below so that you can access that on my website and you can reach out, so that for 2026, we can work on your money system. And like I said earlier, if you are not already part of our growing family of our better version, this is your chance to subscribe and put on the notification bell so that you do not miss our weekly money videos. And if you have liked this video, you might also appreciate this video.